Forge gang! I am still a hard man. Let's go. All right, so as I was driving out from my place, this guy in a white sedan, bourbon sedan van was ran right into me, and he had a very fine pressed and tailored suit and tie. Very nice and finely pressed suit and tie. He was wearing sunglasses and had an earpiece on him, and it looked like there was some tracking equipment in his van. And it was very nice, absolutely spotless, very expensive looking smart car he was driving. Very nice and absolutely very well built suburban sedan van that he was driving. And he was wearing sunglasses, completely bald, suit and tie, very well pressed and tailored suit, almost tuxedo actually. And he had an an earpiece, and he was watching me. It was like he did not expect me to be driving out. And the thing is that I live out in the country. I live way out in the country, and nobody has like a well pressed and very tailored, very well tailored suit and tie like that. And nobody is wearing earpieces like that. It looks like the earpiece he was wearing looks like those things that the president's special special agents or whatever wear. Was an earpiece kind of like that. And it's just very weird because nobody in this location drives a vehicle that looks like that, wears a suit and tie like that, or sunglasses, or a has an earpiece. So, oh, but I'm, sure it's complete coincidence or whatever. It's a total coincidence. Sure. Yeah, it can't be as if maybe it's a government paid agent or a person from the US government that's watching, that's like monitoring and watching what I'm doing. It's just a coincidence. Sure, I mean, it's just I find it unusual that someone that has kind of a white suburban sedan urban vehicle 2 miles off the highway, several like a dozen miles away from the city limits, out in the countryside, well pressed and tailored suit. How much is that? Like $3,000 for a suit and tie like that? How much of an earpiece is that on Amazon? And how much, how expensive is like a white suburban sedan van like that? So, you may think it's a coincidence, and that's fine if you want to. I think it was probably a government agent. I think it was an undercover agent from the American government. And I think I'm right. And I think that I'm being stalked and monitored by the United States government. You can say it's a coincidence. I don't. I know exactly what it is, and I know I'm being spied on by the American government. I know it's not a coincidence, dude. Rick Perry says in the UK they sometimes use taxis or in MFCs. Mobile communications facilities has common platforms for surveillance to and signal triangulation. Yeah, I wasn't able to see very well what was in his vehicle, but I did see that there was some equipment that he was carrying. And this isn't the only time that I have seen these kind of guys that have earpieces. They have earpieces like President's Special Forces, and they either have military or suit and ties. But it was a very well pressed and tailored suit and tie. And I'm pretty sure that it's like $2,000 to have a suit like that. Very nicely, absolutely pressed and tailored suit, probably even made by a personal tailor. The vehicle was in absolute mint condition. Not so much as a speckle of dirt on the vehicle. It was a white van. Absolutely nice. Fine vehicle. And like where I live, like people are using like really old vehicles. Like Texans usually have big trucks. The thing about Texans in the countryside is they drive really big trucks. You won't see Texans driving stuff like that. Texans have these big giant trucks or Ford Motorola trucks. And Texans will usually drive trucks, and there's usually dirt or mud on these trucks. And Texans will usually have cowboy hats or Stetson hats. This guy was not using a Stetson hat. He looked like someone that was from upstate. Absolutely nothing Texan about it. I didn't check his license plates to see what state it was from. In the United States, you could check someone's license plate to see what state they're from, but I don't imagine that he was from Texas. I would imagine that there's probably like Washington, D.C. on those license plates or something like that. So, yeah, I'm not buying it. I think that was an undercover government agent. So Rick Perry says that in the UK they sometimes use taxis or MCFs and mobile communications facilities as common platforms for surveillance and signal triangulation. Let me see what that looks like. It was a small vehicle too. Okay, MCFs. Yeah, let me look that up and I can tell you exactly what kind of a vehicle that it was. Okay, I'm not seeing a vehicle like that. Anyways, he was using a white suburban sedan. I took some pictures. I followed him to where he lives, and I was never really able to find it again. I drove up and down the roads, and I never found that person ever again. And he looked really shocked when he saw me. It's like he was not expecting me to get in my truck and go out. Rick Perry says secret systems for the Secret Service. Yeah, he had an earpiece just exactly like what those guys wear, except it wasn't wire covered. It was more of kind of a wireless piece. He also looked like he might have like a blinking device on his coat. Kind of what do you call those things? It's like it's attached. It's like a button, but it's kind of like it's shaped like a pin and it has a blinking light on it. I noticed that he had that also, and he had an earpiece, sunglasses, very incredibly immaculately cleaned and very well pressed and tailored suit and tie, and an absolute mint condition, brand new white suburban sedan. Those things are like $150,000. They're very expensive, and where I'm living, no one could afford that. That's a lot of money to purchase something like that. So That was without a doubt a secret undercover government agent. Let's see here. Rick Perry says, "Fart gang!" What's up, Rick Perry? Ghost of Cletus says, "What is up, Warhammer?" How are you doing, Ghost of Cletus? What's up, man? Interdimensional Lizard says, "Hard comrades." Yeah, what's up, Interdimensional Lizard? Rick Perry says, "Hard secret systems for the Secret Service." Interdimensional Lizard says, "This man was clearly sent by Brian Dunn." Actually, I've been getting on pretty well with Bri. But yeah, I guess it's just a coincidence, right? Yeah, I guess it's just a coincidence, right? It's just a pure coincidence. Yeah, but, you know, that it would be such nonsense to say that it was an undercover agent. Oh no. Never mind that you don't find vehicles like that out here. You have to understand about Texans wear Stetson hats and they have like rough clothing. Like Texans don't wear like cowboy stuff from the Wild West or like Buffalo Bill's Wild Show. Texans will wear like normal but just, not pressed or tailored uniforms or clothing. And most Texans wear Stetson hats, and Texans don't drive like small, like European looking vehicles. This vehicle or this van he was driving looked like a European van, kind of small size, like what you would see in a large city, just like something you would see in Washington, D.C. or something. Texans drive big, giant trucks, like giant Ford trucks. In fact, it's almost it's almost like an absolute must to have a large Ford truck with a trailer in the back. Most Texans will drive like large Ford pickups with trailers in the back. So, without a doubt, I know that I'm right, and I know that it's a undercover government agent. Anyways, I just wanted to share my experience with that. Yeah, I was just driving to the store to get some things I needed. Like, I live about 2 miles away from the main road. And this guy just, in a very well-tailored suit and tie, tiny looking small white suburban sedan vehicle, sunglasses, an earpiece, looks like he was carrying some equipment. Yeah, you don't see that like in the middle of nowhere. Okay, people in the countryside use Ford trucks or like giant Ford trucks with trailers. And Texans in the countryside don't drive like that. They drive pickups. Okay, one of the things about like Texas is people are always driving huge pickups with trailers in the back. Sometimes like these trailers that have cattle in it, that have like cattle or like farm animals in it. That's what Texans usually drive. They don't drive those kind of vehicles. Milk Cow says, "Hello, Warhammer. How goes it?" I'm doing good. Anyways, I just wanted to share this right fast. But anyways, that's all I had to say. Peace.